So what's for lunch?
So we are going to make a beetroot salad, beetroot, carrot and apple salad. And it's one of my favorite Thermomix recipes. So Thermomix is a German kitchen machine. If you haven't got one, that's fine. You can just grate or cut your carrots and beetroot really small. But we're going to use this great thing, which will do all the work for us and literally produces a delicious raw food salad within 5 seconds. I call it the Porsche of kitchen machines. So we're going to put in that we're looking for beetroot salad. Beetroot salad. And then it comes up with the recipe and you basically just click and it's idiot proof. When I first had it, my husband went, "Oh my God, even I could cook with that." So you just press start cooking and it literally just tells you everything you need to know. It measures everything. So it has scales built into it. So it wants 400 grams of raw beetroot. So I've already prepped the beetroot this morning when I was cleaning the fridge. So we're gonna just put 400 grams of that in there. And you want kind of quarter chunks. So as I say, if you haven't got one of those machines, not a problem. You can just use a normal kitchen grater and grate your beetroot. Here we've got some carrots, which we'll just quickly peel. And the peelings will be thrown on the compost. I don't think I've got a red onion, so what we'll do is just use a normal onion. And again, obviously, if there is something you don't like, if you don't like raw onion, don't put it in. Some people can't eat raw onion because it'll mess up their digestive system. So you can always adapt the recipes to suit your own needs. There's 1 green apple. So we've got an apple here. I'm just going to quarter and core that. 2 to 3 sprigs of fresh coriander, leaves only to taste. So we're going to have to go into the garden and get some fresh coriander and parsley.
Perfect. That's exactly what we want.
Just go and see what the garden has to offer. So we've got some fresh parsley growing here, which is literally just, I bought it last year in Tesco, one of those £1.50 pots you get. And I just planted it in the garden and it's come up beautifully. So I tend to do that. It's often cheaper than buying expensive herbs that, can be £4 a pot if you buy them in a garden centre. Whereas if you just stick them in some soil and give them some water, the supermarket herbs grow beautifully. This is in its 2nd season, so parsley grows 2 years. So the first year you harvest it, the 2nd year it will grow bigger, and some of these bigger ones here you can see the bigger stem, so that's going to develop flowers, and the flowers will then develop seed pods and it will reseed itself. So next year there'll be a new parsley plant growing from the seeds as opposed to it re-emerging from the plant we planted last year. Once it starts flowering and going into seed, I wouldn't cut that one. Just leave the strength to go into that. So we've got just a few sprigs of parsley there, and I'm going to just have a look. I think I do have a little bit of coriander, so we're just going to have a look, see what else we've got. Some of the herbs I've planted literally a few weeks ago, so they were from one of the supermarkets. I used them, cut them all the way down and used what was there, and then planted the roots, and they're just coming up. So this is a little coriander plant, so I'm not going to take too much of it because I want it to establish itself. It does actually help to pick some of it because the picking almost encourages new growth because the plant wants to survive and thrive. So as you're picking the leaves, it will send up more growth and energy into regrowing more and more of it. So do pick within reason. Obviously you need to leave enough for the plant to get enough sunlight still into the roots and everything. So there you go. So we've got a little bit of coriander and a bit of parsley to put into our salad. Feel free to use other herbs if you've got them, and just be creative. I always think recipes are there to be played with. In fact, we're going to do that now and put some marjoram in because it looks gorgeous here. It looks real. Look at this. Oh, I love it. So this is a patch I've just left. I left some of the weeds to grow as well, because to me, weeds are just plants in the wrong place. So just look at the sort of thriving energy in all this, where the plants support each other. The weeds a normal gardener would take out are here to support the other plants. So here's a marjoram plant that's probably self-seeded, because I certainly can't remember planting it. And we're just going to take some of these out as well, because they're just so vibrant and full. Look at that. I mean, they're just so full of energy and life. And that's what we want in the food we eat, because that's what will then go into our bodies as well. I love planting pansies everywhere in between. I just love the flowers on the top of the salads as a decoration, and you can actually eat the flowers. So
I think it's really good for you to get that kind of colour in as well.
yeah. And it's just, I mean, to me, you know, you're cooking and it's almost a piece of art as you're eating it.
Yeah.
So the presentation of it always, in my opinion, is part of the process.
You are what you eat.
You are what you eat, exactly. Oh, just look at that. I mean, it's just gorgeous. What more can you want from life? So we're gonna just give these a quick wash. And we're just gonna do the last rinse with the filtered water. So we don't want the chlorine that's in the normal tap water. We're just gonna chuck the leaves in there, take them off the stem.
Oh, it smells amazing.
It does smell amazing. And it says 2 to 3 sprigs, but to me, herbs have got so many nutrients in them and gives things so much flavor. So you can never really go and have too many of them, I think. So we're just gonna put all of it in. And the parsley. Mm-hmm. And last one. 2 tablespoons of olive oil. So you can measure your tablespoons if you want, but I'm just gonna put some in. I don't have any lemons, so what I'm gonna use instead is apple cider vinegar. When you buy apple cider vinegar, buy it with the mother. So it'll say with mother. You can see that's the cloudy bit at the bottom here. And that's all the goodness. It says 20 grams, so again, the machine will measure, so we'll put roughly 20 grams in there. There you go. A pinch of salt to taste. Don't buy normal table salt unless you have looked at the ingredients, because they put in sort of anti-caking agent, which most people are not aware of. So just, you know, check the labels. I check the label on everything I buy. Right, so now it says insert measuring jug, which is this thing, so it's just putting the lid on. And then we're gonna literally do 5 seconds on speed 5. And it's ready to serve. So that's what I love about this machine, because it makes healthy eating so much easier. So you can see there is a beautiful beetroot salad, or beetroot, apple and carrot salad, which we're gonna put into a nice bowl. Oh, look at that. I mean...
You cooked the beetroot?
No, the beetroot was raw. So there is, oh, look at the colors in that. Amazing. There you go. First part of lunch done. And I thought what we will do with that is have some fresh halloumi. I don't fry a lot, because frying obviously is not a great process of cooking, so it's better to steam things or to slightly... Almost even if I stir fry, I put a bit of water at the bottom of the pan and then fry it in that. Or cook it in that and then put the oil on afterwards, so you're not cooking in the oil. If I do have to heat something up and fry something, I tend to use organic coconut oil, because it's one of the oils that has quite a high smoke point, so it doesn't burn in the high temperatures. So you don't want it, which we all do, and I'm the same. You don't want to put it on to 9, but put it on to sort of 6.5, like a medium heat. And then we'll just take a little bit of the coconut oil out here. We are going to go and get some mint, because I've got some watermelon here, which I cut yesterday and it needs to be eaten. So I thought as a drink to go with the lunch, we're going to do a watermelon and mint smoothie.
Oh, get in.
So this is where we've just come out the house, and whereas we had to go a bit to get the parsley in the garden, this has got my main kitchen herbs here. So we've got chives, we've got thyme, we've got rosemary, and I use a lot of mint because we love having mint tea. So there's quite a few pots with mint, various types of mint. So as you're picking, you always want to sort of cut above 2 leaves. From there, the plant will then develop new shoots. So I think that's probably enough. So we've got some nice fresh mint, which will go into our smoothie. So again, give it a quick wash. So that's literally just the mint leaves going in like that, and there's nothing else going into this smoothie. If you are someone who likes sweetness, you could add a little bit of agave or a bit of maple syrup, but usually the watermelon is sweet enough. And the mint will just balance it off with that sort of minty freshness. And there is a beautiful melon smoothie, which we'll put into a little glass now.
That smells awesome.
And then what I tend to do with most of my food, just to get some more because I don't eat meat, so I always look at protein. So seeds have actually got a lot of nutrients, proteins and oils, so I tend to, on everything I eat, sprinkle sunflower seeds, pumpkin seeds and some mixed nuts. I keep them in jars ready to be used on the shelf.
Yeah, I do the same. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Seeds and nuts.
And I think especially if you're not eating meat or fish, it's really important to do that, to get all your nutrients in. So these are pumpkin seeds, which I adore. And then this is just a jar of mixed nuts. Sprinkle some of those on. And immediately I have a whole food salad. There you go. So I was actually raw vegan for about a year. I've started eating some cooked food again, but I do especially in the summer month, I just love eating raw food. The salads and sometimes just eating straight from the garden. Or when I'm dog walking, I might just eat stuff like leaves of trees, constantly chewing, going, oh, what a lovely breakfast in the morning on a dog walk. But yeah, you can get all sciencey. Some foods are better when you cook them. Some foods are better when you eat them raw. I think our bodies are all different as well. So Ayurveda would look at the different doshas and would design your food plan according to what your dosha is or your body type is. Some people are better with cooked food, others are better with raw food. To me, it's get to know yourself and get to know what works for your body. Some people will look at the salad and go, oh my God, no, I couldn't possibly eat raw nuts, or I couldn't possibly have raw beetroot. If that's the case, you can have cooked beetroot. You can slightly maybe cook your carrot or steam it so it's almost cooked but still crunchy. And do it that way. So go with what your body tells you is right for you. And that goes for anything in life. Never ever just follow someone else's rules. Make your own and do what works for you. So if you do want a bit more substance, have some oat crackers with it. I'm also a big fan of the crisp bread, which is gluten-free. So I try and avoid wheat as much as I can in my diet. So I tend to have these sort of crackery options much more than bread. But yeah, obviously, my husband, my son, love their bread. So they've gone out this morning and got a seeded sourdough from Tesco. So you can have that, or just have the salad and not have anything with it. If you're someone who who works physically and you might need the chicken or the fish with it, then do that and add just some grilled salmon or some grilled chicken to that, and you've got your meal.
Amazing.
So I'm gonna start with a little smoothie, I think. Oh, I love this. It's probably could have done with a bit more blending, but yeah, very nice. And there is your lovely lunch.
Oh my God, that is so beautiful. I'm gonna display that.
Oh, life is good, eh?
Life is so good.
I mean, this is all organic, so yes, it's a bit more expensive, but carrots and beetroot at the supermarket actually aren't that expensive. I really love looking into foraged foods at the moment as well, because there is so much that grows out there that is free, that we've just forgotten that it's there and that we can use it. So to me, Mother Nature provides, it's just we have forgotten that she does. So it's, yeah, reconnecting.
And you'll find that a lot of like our ills are cured by the stuff that's growing in our back garden.
Yes, totally.
They say if there's an illness in the family, then you should check your garden. And that'd be the remedy.
Yes. So as shamans, we always say what you need will grow within 100 yards of where you live.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Same principle,
that.
isn't it?
Yeah. So, oh, just look at that. So we're just gonna take a moment of gratitude for what is provided. And look at the joy that gets reflected back to you. And there's a beautiful story from the American Indians that say our ancestors made a pact with the plant and the animal spirits to say that the plant and animal spirits will have agreed to sacrifice themselves for us if we use them with the right attitude and consciousness, as in be grateful for the sacrifice they give us by allowing us to eat them. And then our payback is that when we die, our bodies go back to the earth. That will feed the next generation of plants and animals, and that's how the circle works in perfect alignment.
I love that because it's the same idea. Like if we wanted to help somebody or serve somebody, we'd willingly do it. But then if they were not grateful or had an attitude about it, or discarded us, then we wouldn't want to like help them and be of service.
So I usually, as I pick the plant, will in my head just tell them what I'm picking them for. Like I would say to the parsley, oh, you're going to go into a beetroot salad that I'm going to have for my lunch today. And I'm really grateful for you providing that part of the meal. And I do believe the plants feel that energy and understand the consciousness of that, and then give themselves willingly, as opposed to being stressed when they get picked abruptly.
That's proven through the Baxter's effect, which is like a study that was conducted by this guy. His last name was Baxter, and he would hook plants up to like a lie detector, similar to a lie detector, and he would try to get a response from the plants. And he would like burn it with a match or cut the leaf and try different things, and it wouldn't work. And then it was when he had a thought process of like, I think it was like frustration and like wanting to take its anger out on the plant, then the plant started like screaming and responding to, and then that created a whole series of experimentations where they found how the plants were constantly responding to our thoughts and our intentions.
Yeah, I think there's a great book, I forgot who it's by, it's called The Secret Life of Plants, and that goes into this. There's a German poet and playwright, Johann Wolfgang Goethe, who was a bit like the German equivalent of Shakespeare, and he, even though he became famous for his writings, at heart he was a botanist. So he already in 1700 experimented with that, with the consciousness of plants and how they reacted, electromagnetic, like in energy frequencies almost to your intention. So, and today we have the technology to measure that even more.
Yeah.
And I love that we have that we can prove that plants feel.
Yeah, it's just not mainstream yet.
Yeah.
But like, the
it's
evidence
there.
is there.
The evidence is there. It just needs to be spread as a message. I think there was a great Instagram post I saw last week where someone in Ireland, it might have been Dublin, hooked up some sensors to a tree, and people could go and talk to the tree. And the tree would almost talk back in frequency.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
So again, when trees in a forest emit a certain electromagnetic frequency that is similar to our brainwaves when we're in meditation, which is why forest bathing is so important, or why we feel relaxed when we go for a walk in the forest, because our brain entrains with the frequency of the trees.
Yes.
But it's when you know that, you can make that a much more conscious process.
I don't think it will be very long until we can actually start interpreting what they're saying as well.
Yeah.
After you start deciphering their electromagnetic language. This is absolutely delicious. It's just so fresh and light, but substantial at the same
Nourishing.
time. I think like we eat too much as a society, and that's because our food is so depleted in nutrients.
Yes.
So we need to eat more to get the nutrients, but when you eat like this, you actually need a lot less.
That's it. You have like one plate and you actually feel like with a smoothie as well, you go, I'm full.
Yeah.
And I'm nourished, and you're not going to need anything soon afterwards. Like I find you have a sandwich, within an hour and a half you want a biscuit.
You get that blood sugar.
Whereas with something like this, that'll keep me going for the rest of the afternoon until it's time for dinner. I might have a little snack. I have like a piece of fruit or something at 4. But generally that would probably keep me going. So for dinner I do prefer having something that's slightly cooked, like a soup or a stew, vegetable based, because you don't want anything that's heavy to digest before you go to bed. So ideally you want to eat 4 hours before you go to sleep, so your body has fully digested your food.
Yeah.
My
so
cut-off
point is usually about 8.
Yeah. So I go to sleep at 10. So I tend to eat at sort of 6:30 the latest.
Yeah, that's been a really great principle for me to live by.
And again, there is no rule for that. You have to, if you're someone who is physically active, you may need those 3 meals a day. If you're someone who sits in an office and you don't use that physical energy, I'm sure you'll be all right with just 2 meals a day.
Yeah.
In the yogic sciences, they generally say if you're above the age of 35, you only ever need 2 meals a day.
Is that because your metabolism slows down a lot?
Again, if you then eat nutritious food, you're going to need a lot less of it. So if we think about that globally, if we grow more nutritious food, we eat more foraged foods, we need to produce less to feed society. So it's a solution to a lot of our problems. We don't have to deplete the soil as much as we do, because we can give it the time for regeneration and for rest in between.
I mean, that's the big myth that people get stuck with. Like, we need industrial agriculture because it feeds everybody, but if it becomes way more localized and more permacultural, where it focuses on the nutritional value of the food itself and the health of the whole system, then we'll all be fuller, healthier, and vitalized anyway. We have this massive agricultural farming system, but then look at how much crap is produced all the time.
It's actually stuff that's not healthy for us that we wreck the planet for. And you think, how did we get there? How did we lose touch with how it should be? So badly. I mean, we're so removed from where we should be.
And there are solutions staring us right in the face.
Yeah. To me, the solutions are all there now. We just have to choose them.
We have to choose them. Well, I think more and more people need to start making that choice themselves, like getting river food or going to the local butchers, or, just opting for the healthier options whenever they can. Those more conscious companies. So everybody who starts making those small little choices, it starts feeding that kind of reality more they
Totally.
have more money and they're more conscious individuals and companies, so then they pull their money into more conscious practices and principles, and then it pays
It's
off.
realizing as a consumer that with our buying choice, we actually have a lot of power. You know, that where if we make different choices, the supermarkets are going to have to change.
They have to.
Because they are gonna, you know, they want to profit at the end of the day. So they will realign to our buying habits.
Yeah, exactly. That is 100% true. Like we decide really what is in our supermarkets by what we buy. Like when people started like going more vegan, and then every supermarket had to adhere to that, and now there's like basically a whole aisle or section dedicated to vegans or veganism or these dietary specifications.
When my son was little, he had a lot of ear infections, like in the first 2 years of his life, and they were treated with antibiotics. And by the time he was 2, he'd had like 7 cycles of antibiotics. And as a mother, I thought, well, this cannot be right. There has to be a different way. So I looked first of all into homeopathy, and I started treating his ear infections homeopathically, which meant he actually ended up healing much quicker. And they didn't occur as often. But what had then happened, and I'm sure it's from the antibiotics that he had so early on, is he developed a gluten intolerance. So up to the age of 11, we couldn't really have wheat in the diet. So, but it's great because wheat is no good for our systems anyway, because the gluten is a really complex protein that needs to be split up. And any body struggles with splitting gluten into amino acids in the stomach. So some people are just either better at that process, or they are so unaware that they don't notice how fatigued they actually are after they've eaten a sandwich or a pizza, because it's just the norm, and then they have a coffee to get the energy back, when actually if they didn't have the gluten in the first place, they wouldn't be tired. So because of my son, I was forced to look at gluten-free food options. And he's 18 now, so 18, probably 16 years ago, you had to really search for those options, and I had to make a lot myself. Whereas now you go to any supermarket and there's a whole aisle of gluten-free choice that's there. So things have shifted massively in just the last 15 years. And that shift, I think, is going to increase as we move forward, because I can certainly see the young people already automatically choosing different,
Absolutely.
a different way of living.
I see it at work actually with so many people have now jumped on matcha, and everyone's drinking matcha at work, like bringing in their own matcha, and it's little changes like that. I'm like, that's good, now they're choosing matcha over coffee. I think the kids it's becoming more and more cool to care for a lot of kids, and now it's cool to care about the ecosystem. It's cool to be a bit hippie in that way. I say hippie because that's like the claim that there is on it, but that's going to make a huge knock-on effect on consumerism, which then has a huge effect on capitalism.
I'm very hopeful that we will get there.
Me too.
If I just look at how much we've already changed in the last 15 years, and just think what we'll achieve in another 15 years.
And it's exponential, right? It's exponential, so it will just keep going faster and faster.